Hey, YouTuber friends. Well, I've been in and out of the hospital. I had surgery, and I'm through with the surgery now, and I'm going to be in and out for the next couple months, getting radiation treatments and stuff like that, because they decided that I had to have radiation on top of having the chemo before the surgery. They want me to have radiation now. And I was told it was going to be one radiation treatment. And then when I go into the consultation with the doctor that was going to do the radiation, it's 6 weeks of every day, Monday through Friday, getting radiation. I'm not really pleased with that. But kind of back to the Harmony campaign, I wanted to get a little bit more into that. I'm actually, while I'm doing all this recovery, along with researching, I am drawing up a few maps, not the city and town maps. I'm going to be using the maps that I showed you, the books, for them. But I did draw up for the world itself and a couple of what the different islands look like. So I'll have that to share with you. Also, I wanted to talk about different game systems. I have a bunch of game systems. I don't know if you can see, but on that top shelf there, I've got a whole bunch. I've got, let me pull them out so that you can see what they are. Okay, so I'm kind of an avid role-play gamer, and I've been doing this since D&D first came out in the 70s. And, of course, I started out with first edition D&D, and we're now up to the 5th edition, which I've got the Player's Handbook, the Monster's Guide, the Dungeon Master's Guide, and the DM screen, and I've got another thing that's just character sheets. Then there's Shadowrun, which is a sort of cyberpunk corporation adventure type thing. Now here's Star Trek. I'm not really impressed with the new tabletop game for Star Trek because I played the original and it was amazing. We had a box set that had like all the different character classes and all the different ship classes, and you could go exploring and do all kinds of things with it. And this one here is my favorite gaming system, which is Palladium. It's one of those answers to D&D that gives you a lot more room to do other things besides going around killing things. And here's GURPS, which is another one of the answers to D&D, and it's a Gary Gygax game, which I really love. Then this one, Basics Fantasy, is an offshoot of D&D, and they got several supplements for it. And I think I use mostly I use the maps associated with it. And then this one here is Judges Guild, and it's the lay sector source book, which is actually outer space maps, and I use that whenever we're doing stuff out in space. So that's the systems that I've got here in the house right now, and I've got a bunch more on my computer on the hard drive, because I've got everything from first edition AD&D to some really obscure game systems, and I've enjoyed this all of my life. I've enjoyed doing this. So when I get into doing the campaign itself, I'm going to be working mostly off of the Palladium rules, but when you design your character, you can design it off of either AD&D or Palladium. No problem with that. I just honestly, I left the Reborn Doll community because it was just so much the mean girl bullying that from high school there was always these mean girls that made life miserable for everybody, and there was just too much of it in the community, the Reborn Doll community. So that's why I left that, and I went back to I've still got my Reborn Dolls, and I still do my thing with them every once in a while, but and I still crochet, and I still do my artwork, but I went back to role playing because that was something I could do with other people. And I had a whole crew of people that we would game with. And so my hope is that eventually we can get back to gaming. I can get back to gaming with other people. And in the meantime, I'm going to share my campaign with you, and the one that I'm going to be running, and talk a little bit about what gaming is like for me. And I've been doing D&D since it first came out in the 70s, and I've been both a player and a DM, so I've seen it from both sides. For me, D&D was just all about going around beating up things and killing them so that you gain experience points. It wasn't as much about the adventure, the exploring, and the relationships that you had with other people, which Palladium, which was one of those answers to D&D, you had a lot more freedom to develop those interpersonal relationships with the other characters and NPCs in the game. You had a lot more freedom to actually be a part of whatever community you found yourself in as your home base while you were out exploring the world and encountering things that you did have to beat up. And also, Palladium had things like Robotech and Ninjas and Super Spies and various other quote-unquote rift worlds that you could go very high-tech with and, get involved in more modern aspects of fantasy. So when I'm DMing, I don't necessarily use a world module or game module from either one of the D&D or Palladium systems. Although I may draw from the different world books for various races and monsters and things. I like taking books that I really have enjoyed and want to share that world with my friends, like Harmony by Jane Ann Krentz, because those worlds are such an immensely beautiful adventure. They inspire your imagination. And I'm a big sci-fi fan and paranormal romance fan simply because of the adventure aspect of them. There's always this little bit of danger that you're going to encounter, whether the danger is other humans or it's monsters or whatever. You're going to come across it, and you're going to have to defeat it in order to, for the situation to resolve itself. And in paranormal romances, they don't just have this aspect going on. They've also got psychic powers. And a lot of people, we're pretty mundane and we don't have all these superpowers. But the idea of, ESP or telepathy or something like that being something that is actually applicable and helpful in real life, now that's interesting. And so when in a paranormal romance, you have all these supernatural things going on, and all of a sudden somebody is able to see auras or to track monsters by seeing what they leave behind psychically, the energies that they leave behind. Now that sparks the imagination. Maybe I could do that, at least in a game setting. So that's what I'm up to. And I really like the Harmony series because of that fact. All of her main characters are people who have one really strong psychic ability that is important to them. Now, in Harmony, the rules in Harmony are that you don't have more than one really strong talent psychically, or you might become mentally unstable. Like, you have telepathy, but you don't have clairaudience, or you can't start fires with your psychic abilities. And there are people on Harmony that have tried to change that through the use of drugs or crystals or whatever. And those people are part of criminal organizations. And they want to build super soldiers that are, have really super strong talents for things like using their psychic abilities to kill with. And the problem is that the drug is very addictive, and if you're on it long enough, you're going to start deteriorating, or if you're not able to get your next dose, you will go insane and die. So, those are things in that world that are going to affect how you deal with people and monsters and things. And it's funny because I think that in real life, in technology, they're moving towards that, because we did have government agencies that were doing research into the paranormal and the psychic, and was trying to use psychic abilities in order to be weaponized, you know, at one point. The things like the remote readings, remote viewings, and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's interesting to put those things into a fantasy setting and use a bunch of dice and in order to determine the outcome. There's just a little bit of random numbers that you have to deal with. So anyway, that's it for now, and I'll talk at you later. Bye bye.